there friends, it's Ashley here from The Leapy Lamb, and today I'm going to show you how to assemble my easy faux fur crochet slippers. Now I have already worked up one of my slippers here, and it's made from just a very simple rectangle. If you check on the blog, you'll see that it's available in all of the sizes from child to adult. You'll need a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors, and a coordinating worsted weight yarn to go with your slippers. I'm using this Bravo worsted weight yarn in Cotton Candy. I'm using it because it's a little darker than this color, so I'm hoping it will be easier to show up for us here on the camera. I've used Fable Fur here to crochet my square, and this is the color Paloma. So let's get started in assembling our slipper. This rectangle here has been worked from right to left here in rows, but to have it fit your foot, you need to turn it and have it so the rows are running vertically for you. So we're going to fold our slipper in half, hot dog wise, as my son's teacher likes to say when he's teaching them art class. And we are going to create the heel. Now in the instructions you were told to leave a long tail, and that's what we're going to be using to create our heel. So thread your tail onto your tapestry needle. Okay. And see how we've got our seam, our two sides of the seam pushed together? What we're going to do is we're going to use our tapestry needle and our tail, and we're going to seam a zigzag. So I believe this is actually called a mattress stitch to seam up the heel. So I'm going to work right into the last stitch on the opposite side to where my tail is located. Then I'm just going to work through the ends of the row all the way down. And you want to make sure that the right side of your fur is facing out. With the faux fur, both sides generally will look very similar and to some almost indistinguishable. So just choose whatever side looks the fluffiest to you. Okay, so I've made sure I've cut all of my stitches all the way down, and then I'm going to go into what will be the heel, and pull that tail from the outside to the inside. Okay. I'll turn it inside out, and then I'll just weave the tail in. I like to do that along the seam, kind of adding some more strength to the seam. Doesn't really need it because this yarn's pretty sturdy once it's worked up, but as it's going to be going on a child's foot, I don't think any sort of extra support is going to be a bad thing, especially for my daughter who will be wearing them. The great thing about working with this faux fur yarn is it hides everything. So even if you're really not good at seaming and it's something that you generally tend to shy away from because you just don't think your seams are pretty, it doesn't matter with the faux fur. Everything gets hidden away anyways. So now that I'm done, I'm going to cut my tail. Get that off screen there for us. And I'm going to turn my slipper right side out. Okay, so that will be your heel. This tail is just from my start. You just kind of weave that in. I'll finish that later, but I'm just going to put it inside the project for now so we can see a little easier. Okay, so I've got that tail out of the way now, and this open end will be the toe of our slipper. So this is where you're going to be bringing in your worsted weight yarn. Now for this, generally you're going to need at least probably about 12 inches at least. So if you're not sure, cut more than you need just to be on the safe side. And what we're going to do is we're going to find that very first stitch on either side here, and you're going to weave your yarn tail through the ends of the rows. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. The fur will hide anything. Now, don't pull your yarn all the way through. You need to leave one side of the tail hanging out on the side you started, because you're going to be using that to help cinch this toe closed. I'm just going to keep working through to the other side. And now I've got the yarn all the way woven through, and I have tails on both ends here. So I like to grab both tails together and pull those ends together to cinch it closed. The tighter you get this, the smaller the hole will be in the center. I'm just flipping it around because I find it easier to tie this way. Once you've got it in the place where you want it, tie a tight knot. Okay, now I've got that nice and taut, and there's no hole there on the end. And now I've got these tails. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab one of the tails. One of mine is a little longer than the other, so I'm going to pick that longer tail. And it's starting to look more like a slipper, right? So we've got this opening, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half, and then we're going to do what we did with the heel. We're going to work that zigzag mattress seam up the slipper, and we're going to stop at least halfway up, right? If you want it to be a little snugger, you can go further up, but you want to make sure that you're leaving lots of space on the heel end for the foot to go in. So we'll start our seam here. Mattress seam is fantastic for this because it really becomes invisible, particularly with the fur. And so I'm just working my seam up into the edges of each row, working all the way up. And so again, I use this brighter color because you can kind of see it a little bit, at least I can, as I'm seaming. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, so I think that is good for me. I've gone just a little over halfway, but I've done that because I know that my daughter has very skinny feet and really little ankles. So I want them to stay as secure on her as possible. So once I'm done here, I'm gonna pull my tail to the inside. And if you can't see your yarn from your seam, literally just take your fingers and scratch at the fur like this, or I use a pet brush that we got for our dog, and just brush it up a little bit, and that fur will cover up that seam. So now that I'm done, I'm going to turn that slipper inside out. Just the toe area is fine. And then I'm just going to, if you want, you can tie a knot. Oops, dropped my tail. You can tie a knot here, or you can just weave in your ends. I like to tie a little tiny knot. There we go. And then I'll weave in my ends. And so I'll do that off camera. And we've got that one other end remaining. And then once again, I will just take that tail, pull it to the inside of my work, and weave in my ends. And there you go. You've got your very own finished first slipper. And then you would just repeat those steps with your second slipper. Now, because the fur is very slippery, I do have instructions on how to attach a suede sole to these slippers to help make them less slippery for you when you're walking around your house. So if you're looking for that video, I will have it and link it for you here and in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel. If you enjoy free crochet patterns, please check out my blog, theloopylamb.com. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Happy hooking, and I'll see you next time.